welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're part of the family already, welcome back home. And if you are a new subscriber or a new viewer, I hope by the end of the video you consider subscribing. I just realized some of you don't actually know my name. So hi everyone, my name is Nyasha and I am here today to talk about, okay, that sounds so formal, but you know what, I guess we'll work into the intro maybe later on as we go. Today we are talking about something very essential to talk about. We do not talk about this enough. It is essential that we talk about it, and it is arguing in relationships. So obviously some of these things are useful across the spectrum, whether in any type of relationship, be it family relations or romantic relations or friendship, just platonic stuff, whichever one you have in mind as you watch this advice could really go a long way in helping you deal with conflict better. So the first thing is, do you want to fix things? That is the goal of every argument, of every conflict resolution scheme you could ever come across. Do you want to resolve things? Do you want to fix things? To note is that when we have a conflict, our goal is to resolve things. Our goal is not to just leave things as they are. So if you're going to have an argument with someone and you have no intention of getting back to peace and unity, then there is no point in arguing. So today we're talking about how to argue well. We are going to talk about how to argue well with your partner. If you are in a relationship, then this could really save your relationship. If you're married, this really could actually save your marriage, because conflict resolution is essential in every relationship. Okay, you know what? Sometimes I think I've had enough talking stages. But anyway, this was actually, I think when I was doing my first degree, I was talking to this person, and you know, we seemed to have a lot of conflict, you know. And so we both really sucked at conflict resolution. We could not resolve conflicts well. So we would eventually just stop talking to each other and then suddenly start talking to each other again, or we would just sweep things under the rug, you know, because that's just, we did not know how to resolve conflicts in a healthy way. Number one, conflicts are inevitable. They are going to happen. You're going to get to a point where you just don't see eye to eye pertaining a particular topic. So whether it's something very important or something very trivial, there is no way, no matter just how much you love each other, even with your own parents, there's no way you can see eye to eye on every single thing. There will be moments when you just don't see things from the same point, or you just don't agree. You agree to disagree, if you get that. So number one, the first thing to note is the tone. I'm very sensitive to tones. I'm very sensitive to tones because I don't like it when people shout at me. So if I'm being shouted at, I can sense it. I can pick it up. If someone is being condescending, I can sense it. I can feel it. It's there, and the air is rich with a message. When you say something, the tone that you use to speak these things is very important, because then it communicates a message. It's one thing to say, pick that paper up. It's another thing to say, pick that paper up. And it's another thing to say, oh, pick that paper up. You know, so the tone, the intonations really, maybe the intonations don't really matter, but the tone really matters. If you're going to go to a person, and my granny said to me, if you go to a person and you want to say the best thing to them, you want to correct them in the most loving way, but you don't say it properly, if you don't use a tone that is rich with love or rich with care, rich with patience, then your message will not be accepted. It will not be welcome. It won't be taken with open arms. Make sure when you're correcting the other person, you are not putting them down. Make sure when you correct the other person, you are not making it seem like they're so terrible and you're such a better person. Women, we tend to get really irritated quickly. We're very irritable, just generally, and depending on what time of the month it is, you can find yourself highly irritable. And so when you are around other people, or if you have a significant other and they say something or they do something and you feel like you have said it before, you have put it across to them like, please don't do this, and they do it, the number one reflex is to just get into war mode and be like, I've said this a million times. But that's not the point. If you continuously see that you've said something, try to say like you're saying it for the first time. So if you are married and your husband leaves the lights on the whole house, typically you could get very aggressive when you say it, like, why do you always leave the lights on? I'm always telling you, why do you always leave the lights on? And so it's essential. It is very, I would encourage you to just use the tone you'd use as though you were saying for the first time. Remind yourself, bring yourself to a humble level, and remember, just try to say it like you're saying it for the first time. I am not an expert at this. I don't always stay true to this, but if you do it, it will help you a lot. Two, the phrasing. You know, it's not necessarily what is said that is the problem. It's how it is said. So if you say to your child, stop fighting, or don't fight, it might work, but something that would work more effectively would be gentle hands, gentle hands, gentle hands. I know I'm not a mom, so this is probably the worst example to give, and my mom would probably look at me and think, would you know about kids? But anyway, y'all,
avoid
like,
words
saying, you know, the best way to avoid using of discomfort is to actually extreme. What do I take it from a reaffirmative point? So instead of saying, don't come back home late, just be positive and say, please try to come back home earlier. That way you're not attacking the other person, and the phrasing changes the way they look at it. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, why are you just loitering and acting like you have nothing better to do, try saying, you look like you could use something else to do, or you look like you are ready for a task. Would you mind helping me with this? So as you do that, it reaffirms the other person. It shows them that you see them as a person. It reaffirms the positive, and that's avoid bringing totality into your arguments. For instance, you never do this. You always say this. You just don't do this. You never, you always, you know, like words like that. Or you don't care. Don't say things in a way that makes the other person feel like they're always doing wrong. Even if they are, try not to use words like always or never. Words that just bring this air of, okay, so you don't see any good that I do, because most of the time it's not true. I might leave the lights on most of the time, but I don't always leave the lights on. I might leave the house dirty, but I don't always leave the house dirty. I might not clean every day, but I don't never clean the house. So it's essential to note that words like never, words like ever, words like always, leave those out of an argument. The fourth point, timing. Oh my gosh. Timing is so essential when you are trying to resolve matters. So if you're trying to put across a point of correction, then your timing is very much as important as the phrasing and the tone and everything else. If you are going to pick the worst time, the message you're trying to communicate won't be received with much openness. Time you pick to express your discomfort, your dissatisfaction is very essential. If you have an argument with your significant other in the morning when you're going off to work, that's probably not the time to start addressing things you did 3 weeks ago, because it's just not the time. Like, people are rushing to go to work, one, and two, tension is high. You've already had an argument. Try not to bring things from old arguments into new ones. Try to start and finish each argument on a clean slate. Don't resolve matters from the past in a current conflict. For instance, if your significant other stepped on you and didn't say sorry 5 weeks ago, and you didn't bring it up, don't bring it up again today when they don't wash the plates and say, oh, you never listened to me, you don't apologize, you stepped on me last week. Just don't do it. Okay, so the other thing is, don't run away from arguments. Don't fear conversations that lead to change. So if you are afraid that raising a topic in your relationship or in your friendship will lead to disunity and will lead to the end of your friendship or your relationship or whatever it is that you're trying to, that you find yourself in, then that's simply a sign to show how weak your friendship or your relationship is. Because any relationship or friendship that is founded on a good foundation is a safe space. It's a safe space, so you can safely be you and express dissatisfaction in a healthy way. So if you find yourself constantly sweeping things under the rug because you don't want to raise them for fear of conflict and fear of discordance when it happens, that you can't fix things, then that's a sign for you. If you are in a romantic relationship where it's eggshells to say something because you don't know how it will be received, or your partner's just simply not open to talking about it, then that's also something for you to take note of. In order to make sure that your conflicts resolve well, you need to create an atmosphere that allows respect. So this is cultivated outside of arguments. Day to day, in your daily life with your friend or your significant other, you need to make sure you create a space that is safe, that upholds respect. You need to reach a point where you know that even if you don't agree to agree, you are still heard, you are still loved, and you are still understood. And so, yes, how you do that as a couple is up to you. Whether you're going to do check-ins with each other, or you're going to jokingly express dissatisfaction, or whichever way you decide to do it as a couple, to create this space where you feel respected and understood and heard, that is completely up to you. Your argument with your partner is not a who's right situation. In fact, we don't care who's right. All we're trying to do is fix things. That's why people have conflicts. That's why we have this video, to help us resolve conflicts better. It's not about who's right or who's wrong. That does not matter. In fact, at the end of the day, the only goal is we want to fix things. We want to fix things, and we want things to get back to normal. We want our relationship to be a place of peace. I think by now you understand that, resolving conflicts requires humility. And humility is a fruit of your relationship with God. So if your relationship with God is not very good, and you don't go to God at all, it is problematic. Generally, it's chaotic, because then you don't know in your relationship, how can I bring myself down to his level, or how can I bring myself down to her level? You just don't know how to approach things because you have no humility. Humility is a fruit of your relationship with God. So I think you've heard this before. Your relationship with God dictates the pace of every other relationship you could ever have. Everything hinges on your relationship with God. So if you're not humble enough to even go before God and ask for forgiveness, it is hard for you to ask for forgiveness when you're wrong. So when you're wrong in a relationship, when you find out, okay, I am the aggressor in this situation and I should apologize, don't hesitate to say sorry. Don't hesitate to say sorry. In fact, I was listening to this couple speak over a podcast, and they said they have a race to apologize first. Imagine a relationship like that, where each of you wants to say sorry first because they want to quickly fix things, So I think we should just adopt a behavior of wanting to apologize and fix things instead of I'm right. I hope you learned something. I hope this relationship advice was useful to you. It's useful to all relationships possible. If it helped you, would you please consider giving this video a big thumbs up? Smash that like button, smash it. And of course, please share this video with a friend or two or on your Instagram. And would you please tag me when you do so? Okay, have a lovely day. Have a lovely evening, whatever you're doing. And may God continue to bless you. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.